Say 5, really everybody thinks 10 after. So I'm sure we'll be having some folks coming in the next few minutes, but we do want to get started today. Welcome everybody to our session on funding entrepreneurial ventures. I think you'll find this a really interesting session. Really the objective here is, first of all, to help convince you that starting your own business is a great idea. And when you start it, there's different ways to fund it. One excellent way can be working with an angel investor company. So we'll hear that side of funding. Angel investor will help you and help you grow. And then after 5, 6, 7 years, when you're really ready, and then you do your IPO, initial public offering on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So we'll be hearing from the Toronto Stock Exchange how that process works. So really getting you started in the business, getting it funded, watching it grow, and then when's the time to turn it over to the TSX and how that works. So that's really our objective today. And we have with us Basim Mirza. Basim's the president of Buzz Ventures, and he works with a lot of entrepreneurs, helping them with angel investors, inspiring and getting folks like you up and running in the business. After Basim, we'll have Edward Chung speak, and Edward is the manager of business development from the Toronto Stock Exchange. So I will turn it over to Basim.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you guys do a round of applause? Just nice to meet you guys, and it's actually truly a pleasure just being here and whatnot. You guys have a great campus. I really love your campus. So tell me about yourself. Come on, like who are you guys? You speak.
Game developer students.
Game developer students. Okay.
I'm in nuclear engineering.
Nuclear engineer. Wow. Okay.
Commerce.
Commerce. Okay.
Commerce.
Commerce.
Commerce what?
Commerce. Commerce. Is it mostly commerce?
Yeah.
Wow, that I didn't expect. Because I was thinking, are there any other game developer students back there? Okay, so that's how many game development students. How many commerce? Raise your hands. Okay, and how about just entrepreneurship? Oh, so it's like almost a hybrid between commerce and, okay, that's cool. So what do you guys want to do? How many of you actually want to start a business? Holy cow, wow. That's, okay, so let's hear some of the reasons. Why do you want to start a business? Just say it out, it's very collaborative, just go speak out. Control, all right.
More money.
More money, okay. Unlimited income, okay.
Tax advantages.
Tax advantages, if your business is doing well. Anything else?
Be your own boss.
Be your own boss. Actually, that may not be true, because as soon as I left my job, I had 1,000 bosses. Your clients become bosses, and that's the crazy thing.
Flexible arrangements.
Okay, flexible arrangements, that's right.
So you can leverage basically employees for yourself.
Interesting, and that's also, you can have all of that. Any other reasons?
Pride and ownership.
Pride and ownership.
To get your idea out there.
You get your idea out there, and so utilizing that. So okay, so let's get a general sense of like what stage most of you might be at. Like, are you at the idea stage, or do you have something? Have you thought about a business plan? Say, don't worry, this is a very open sort of a thing. I'm trying to get you guys to engage as well, because I know it's a late day and everything, but just get excited about something. So come on. Give me an example. What stage are you guys at?
Implementation, I guess. I got the website, so I just got it all developed and whatnot.
Wow.
And now just marketing it online and stuff like that.
Wow. So then have you ever thought about putting together a business plan as well? Or?
That's like the next stage I'm at.
Okay.
I do have like a business template thing I can do up. I've been meaning to get to it, but just with school and everything, just kind of, I graduate in April, so once I'm done in April, I'd like to focus on it a lot more.
And what's the reason why you might want the business plan? You obviously want to do a business plan, but are there reasons that you might have?
To organize my own thoughts, because I get a lot of ideas of what I want to do with the business, but then sometimes I just get lost in those thoughts, so to have them all kind of organized. As well, if I did have, I've had a couple people like in the industry come up to me and say, I like your idea, if you maybe change this, this, and this, I would consider going into business with you. So having just something on paper.
Something that to follow, and it also kind of cuts to the chase as well, just a document. So we've established that, you know, some of you might be at different levels. So what do you guys want? I mean, like, as in, what do you want? What's stopping you? Is there anything that's stopping you from starting a business?
Money.
Money, okay. That can be fixed. What else?
Time.
Time, okay.
School.
School, okay. And but what stage are you at, like, at school?
Just kind of still idea development.
Or no, I mean, like, are you in third year,
Oh,
second?
third year. Oh, what stage of school? Third year, yeah.
Third year, okay. And,
A team?
oh, yeah, team. That's really interesting. And that can be all. So all the reasons that have been stated so far, that can all be fixed. Does anyone want to ask how?
How?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. So essentially what I do is I work with students and I inspire and motivate them to start their own business. The reason why you'd be able to do it is if you have a really good business plan in front of you, people will actually support you. And that means mentors, investors, companies like mine, all sorts of people will actually start backing you because you have a sufficient business plan. So there's lots of places where you can go. Have you thought about different places? Do you guys know of any? Where would I take a business plan? Tell me.
To a bank.
To a bank, okay, because you can get a loan, you can get that sort of thing.
Business advisory centers.
Okay. Well, do you know any of them?
There's one in Whitby. They came to the job fair and I spoke to them there and I have all the information. I've been meaning to like go to them, but
Interesting. Okay. And what other places could you take it to?
Other than Dragon's Den? I was thinking of business advisories. There are usually local ones in municipalities.
By the way, I'm not a shark, nor a dolphin, or a dragon, so don't need to fear me. But like, one of the things that, you know, a lot of students, they want to be taken seriously, especially when they're coming out. And as you mentioned, as we can see in this room today, a lot of students are actually considering entrepreneurship. Why is that? Because there's a lack of security as to where you want to go. You know, you may not have the right job you're looking for, it may not pay as well. So it's quite interesting that, you know, what we've gotten just out of this classroom already tells us a lot about how we are all thinking. So going back to the whole business plan, why else do you think? I mean, you mentioned that I mentioned that you can get funding, right? What else can you get?
Grants.
Grants. There you go.
Mentorship?
Mentorship. So what I do, my business, you know, I actually support young entrepreneurs just like you, generally under the age 30, and I help them start a business. Basically, I get them to the point where their business plan is refined, and it's at that stage where it can actually be incorporated. So we work with you to get there. But I must, for something like that, if I try to provide you, and I try to help you, and I try to support it, I try to bootstrap it with you, I must ask for something, right? Because I don't work for free, right? Do you think I might work for free?
no.
Well, it turns out no,
Actually, if you were to invest in the company and instead whatever profit the company makes, you make as well. So it's not so much that we have to pay you a fee, but rather you have a stake in our business, and if our business shoots the roof, you'll own maybe 30%.
Exactly. No, you have, like, exactly. So now, why do you think that it might, in most of your cases, be a better idea to try and be as resourceful as possible at your stage? Because most of the, you know, don't get me wrong, but I think that most of you are at the premature stage. Am I correct? You know, I mean, you're starting your business just now, right? Is that true? Generally, we can say that, even if no business plan is developed. So that puts a certain value on your business, right? So, you know, if you had, you know, someone like Kevin O'Leary or someone like Rob Herjavec sitting across from you, obviously they may want a lot from your own business, right? But you may not want that. Is that true? Would you want to give up? Would you want to give up 80% of your business?
No.
Really? Oh gosh. How about, like, would you guys actually want to give up that much?
No.
No. So what do you think is required to be able to help harness what you want in the end? Because you want to be able to hold on to most of your company. Is that true? Is that correct?
That's correct.
So what do you think would be necessary to be able to help you get your business to the point where it's actually more valuable? Because that's what needs to happen, right? It needs to be more valuable. Does it not? So if it needs to be more valuable, how would you do that?
Well, I would think about first constructing a business plan to even share with your future investors.
Okay.
Just state out the idea that you have, map it out, prove its feasibility, run that by the investor, and see what they think, any arrangements that can be made, maybe further research together,
Yeah.
and just test out the product, see where it goes.
Interesting. But do you think that there might be, what do you think gives an investor confidence that your business would work? Why would an investor want to put money in your business?
Well, when the assumptions have strong backup, there's a strong inference, like it's not just pulling out something out of the air and be like, okay, I'm going to make a business on, let's say, sending fruit to business people, because, I mean, how do we know that business people are in need of fruit, right? They can go to the store and buy it. Meanwhile, if there's like a thought about, okay, there's a new market that has been untapped, and a medium has the potential to do that, but just no one has done that yet,
Yeah.
and such and such.
So, okay.
Just basically, there's structure and all the assumptions.
So substance, do you think sales might be an aspect?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So what do you think would be a good strategy to get your business to a point where it's actually valuable again?
Like a pilot or like a sample.
Sample. So you'd be able to showcase something, show something? Go for it.
In video games, you make a prototype.
Interesting.
It's a demo.
It's a demo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, are there other ways to prove whether that demo is successful?
You can show it off. You can bring it to shows.
There's ways around it.
Usually you can say the download accounts in the comments for the prototypes.
So feeds and things like that. But what about, go for it?
What about if you put the prototype on the blog and got people to like do a poll or something?
Yeah.
Or you got a Kickstarter project.
I mean, can you use SurveyMonkey to help you with this?
Yeah, you can.
You can, right? So
Get
like,
pre-orders.
exactly.
Like Minecraft. They did.
Yeah, so like you've got like, different survey programs. Or what about just getting out on the street and testing reactions, right? Because that's quite good information, right? If you say you went to a crowd of this many people, I mean, that at least gives you some backing and at least it gives me the confidence. I mean, if you were putting down money into something, wouldn't you want to know whether, there was some good positive reaction, right? You can't trust your gut all the time. You've got to have some data. You've got to have some numbers, right? Go on.
For like, if you were going to bring it out into a crowd setting, would you like, what would make sense for that? Bringing you along or bringing a video?
How do you mean?
Like, just invite you out, hey, say, hey, I'm going to show this game to you. You're like, this is the one you want me to fund? I'm like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Just show it in front of a crowd.
Like, is there, like, can you do that? You can do that. Oh my God, you can do that. Yeah, I'm joking, but I'm just saying that you can do that. I've done it. Like I've gone into many crowds and you can do that. I know it's pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And the thing about it is when you're in a certain position and you want to actually be able to do more, what you have to do is you really have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Entrepreneurship is going to require things that you're not used to. If you're not used to doing certain things, then you're obviously not cut out for it. To get into this room, this classroom, I must have had to make so many phone calls. To get, Pamela Ritchie's respect and to get even my own investor respect. I got refused like 7 times by my own investor until he finally decided to invest in my own company. So you've got to be prepared to do things that you're just not used to. I mean, would you say that? I mean, you guys might have come across a lot of businesses that have failed and whatnot, right? So
No, I think a lot of it also has to do with uncertainty on how to execute such a thing, like different marketing research techniques and such.
Exactly.
So that might also hinder confidence, but once one learns the different
But you know what?
techniques, it'll boost their confidence.
You can research all day, but if you keep researching, and if you're not getting sales, then
I mean, different techniques though. Like, I mean, whether it's exploratory research or conclusive and such, and knowing the difference between that can build actual statistics that you can use for your business plan.
yeah. But what is the most useful thing? In my opinion, this is just my opinion, but what do you think is the most useful thing to help you get answers from experts, from different people that, well, what do you think, what can you do?
Ask questions.
Okay, how would you ask questions? Use the phone. It's actually quite, it's quite insane what the phone can actually do. It can bring a lot of people that you never thought would come close to you, closer. It's actually quite incredible. And so what you can do is you can actually get the resource in front of you. So you basically start having that drive and whatnot. So now let me, you guys came here to find out about IPOs, angel investors, as well as entrepreneurship and starting your own business. Is that fair to say? So most of you want to be able to know how you can get all the resources, and so that you can create your own job. Would that be fair? Would that be a fair assumption?
I am interested in that.
Okay. Is there anything else that I may not have already mentioned? So we're all on the same page there, right? Yes. So one thing, a lot of people may not realize it. It's not that bad. I mean, a lot of people think it's bad. It is. It's kind of bad. No, but it's okay. It's not that difficult, because the thing is, if you have the set plan, if you know what you're doing, and if you've been able to delegate your time effectively, you can actually move ahead with what you need to do. So when it comes to building a business plan, your business plan will actually help get you the resources that you need. As you're building that business plan, you actually want to be able to maybe think about how you're going to get sales, and maybe think about how you're going to get grants and whatnot. Maybe have a negotiation battle with your parents. See if they can, allow you to live in their residence for a little bit longer. You may have to do things that are very difficult. I had to do that when I started my first business. I had to talk to my parents. I told them I left Scotiabank. So I used to work there. Now I'm here. I'm an entrepreneur. But within 3 months, I started my first successful business because it just started making money. So it's quite interesting what life can do to you and how life can proceed, right? So when it comes to doing what you want to do, you have to be driven. You can't do anything half-hearted. That's also very important. So you have the business plan, right? How are you going to refine it? You have to keep focusing on it, right? So there's people like me. I work with young entrepreneurs, and I actually do a deal with them. I cut a deal with entrepreneurs, and I start off by asking them for an equity stake. And that's how I work. And in fact, I'm working with students in your own campus, and I'm in the midst of these sort of negotiations. And it's a penniless exchange, because I feel as young entrepreneurs like you don't want to give out cash, but they do want to pursue their business opportunity. I don't ask for much. I actually ask for a small percentage and whatnot. But the idea is to build the value behind the business and build it to a point where there's high sales, and so that there's enough value about it. And maybe, just maybe, you can actually get private investment at the right value. And now, what the interesting thing is, we've actually got an interesting fellow over here. His name is Edward, and he works for the TSX. Now, what I want to explain is how we transition from the dorm room to the boardroom. And what we do is we go through an escalation process. So you get your business plan ready. You start it off, and you get the resources you need. We help you. We actually bootstrap it with you. We get the bootstrapping going, and then you actually get the funding you need so that you can back the business with sales, revenue, and whatnot to make it an attractive business. This will help support all sorts of needs, whether it's marketing needs, legal, IP, patent work, because these are all things that cost thousands of dollars, and you need revenue to be able to do that. As you're doing that, eventually the businesses build up. And they could build up to a point where their actual market value, this is, the market value can be high enough so that you can be listed on the TSX Venture. So that's why Edward's here today. We're talking about how businesses can come from here, the classroom, or the dorm room, to the boardroom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Edward, and he's going to talk about the TSX, and let you know that TSX is open for business. That's it.